Greenery of the ravines. Ravines contain, in comparatively tight spaces, a significant habitat difference, which determines an extraordinarily rich flora. In the ravines, the plant formation, that will be described below, prosper, all of them but the cultivated field. Besides, hygrophilous plants, rupiculus, and isolated strips of the ancient selva, residues of the original forest coverage, can be found. For the latter, they will be illustrated in the section. Mediterranean scrub, garrigue, and Mediterranean pseudostep. The three plant formations referred to in point number 1 are put in the same item to make instantly clear the evolutionary or involutionary relationship among them. They are briefly described below. Mediterranean scrub is an evergreen plant formation mainly consisting of shrub and arboreal species. It is the outcome of the gradual destruction caused by humans of the evergreen Mediterranean forest, whom allegedly covered a huge part of the Lucanian territory in the ancient age. The most significant and widely spread kind of scrub that can be found in the park is located along the ravine of Matera, from the southern rim of the town till the neighborhood of the rocky church of Cristo la Selva. A rare juniper scrub can here be admired taking the direction of a tree, and it is listed in the Habitat Directive as a natural habitat of common interest. Mastic trees, Phillyrea, Mediterranean buckthorn, fragrant broom are the most common shrubs here, while myrtle, carob, strawberry tree, arboreal heather are more uncommon. Garrigue is considered as a scrub degradation stage, but under certain soil conditions, it has to be seen instead as the first step of vegetal evolution that eventually leads to the evergreen forest. Plant species garrigue is characterized of normally aren't higher than half a meter. In the park, it can be found in the areas that were covered by fires or on barren and stony soils, and it presents a remarkable variety of species. Among these, several aromatic and medicinal plants such as mountain savory, shrub thyme, southern oregano, curry plant, and their strong and persistent scents fill the air in every season. Mediterranean pseudostep is the most widespread habitat of the Murgia materana, and it originates from the involution of the garrigue due to fire, overgrazing by livestock, and other factors. It is characterized by a predominantly herbaceous flora grown on a soaring rocky substrate, often mixed with garrigue. Emblematic species of pseudosteppa are southern feathery fairy lining and the Mediterranean asphodel, which make the dry and barren Murgia soil very charming during the spring blooming. However, it has to be said that pseudosteppa represents the last degradation stage of the Murgian flora. After that, there is the desert. Cultivated field. Agriculture and pastoralism in the Murgia area go back to the Neolithic period, and their progressive development involves the logging of Mediterranean forest. Since the early 19th, the relentless decreasing of the local forest surface covering got even worse due to the stone removal of widespread areas of Murgia Materana, to make way for almond trees, olive trees, some vineyards, and a few fruit trees, followed more recently by arable crops. The turning of the original forest landscape into an agrarian one has determined the depletion, when not the vanishing, of animal and plant species, especially in the arable crops areas. On the other hand, comforting signs come from the long since abandoned cultivation, where the pre-existing vegetation is slowly taking its spaces back, and a smooth wildlife restocking is witnessed. Wood. Besides the above-mentioned forests, the Lucignano wood and the Comune wood bear witness to the native forest cover of the Murgia Materana. On the plan, both the woods are placed on the right side of the ravine of Matera, just about close to it. This woodland is characterized by areas of oaks and by a diverse and abundant flora. In the Lucignano wood, featured is the presence of Fragno trees, an oak which is very widespread in the Balkans, present in Italy only in the Apulian and Matera Murgia, testifying to a likely, very ancient link between Balkan region and Puglia. The section. Let's explore now the section of a ravine placed in the top right corner. The ravine is vertically cut by the section and its stratigraphy and greenery are showed. The two rock formations the limestone base is made of are clear in the drawing. The first formation is the limestone of Altamura, with its Havana white color. Since it is more ancient, geologically speaking, it is placed on the lower layer. The calcarenite of Gravina, with its white yellowish color, is placed over the limestone of Altamura. It is an easy-to-dig rock that can be comfortably cut with basic manual tools, and that's the reason why it has been largely used by man through the millennia, as testified by the Sassi and the dozens of rock settlements the park area is filled with. To highlight these two layers, the limestone of Altamura is indicated by a thick dotted texture, while a thin dotted one indicates the calcarenite of Gravina. The section also shows the plant populations, growing areas inside the ravine and on the adjacent plants. Starting from the floor, the hygrophilous greenery can be seen, which prefers humid environments. On the banks of the streams, white willows, common tamarisk, reed beds and rushes grow, just to name some. Where the water oozes relentlessly from the rock, rare and various fern species take root. At higher altitudes, on the ravine's steep slopes and valleys, the rock-dwelling flora grow, appearing to defy gravity. This is primary vegetation, which means it has preserved its primordial aspect through time, and that, through a very long time evolution, it has adapted extreme environmental conditions such as water and soil shortage, sunshine, and high wind speeds. Rupiculus species, as the Apulian campanula, red valerian, and caper, with their elegant blooms, seems they want to assert life dominance where it appears no existence could be possible. Along the sides of the ravines, on the plains, and where the slopes are less steep, the Mediterranean shrubs luxuriantly grow, particularly where the human's disturbance has ceased for a long time. On the most arid and stony soils, the shrub gives way, as seen before, to garrigue and pseudostepa. Welcome to the Parco dei Monaci Visit Center. The visual and tactile panel you have before, along with this audio guide, will accompany you in the discovery of the Parco della Murgia Materana. The park area is depicted at the center of the panel, while the classification of this protected area in its geographical context is on the left side, with a short introductory text below. On the left side, stratigraphy and greenery of the Murgia Materana canyons are described, with their own legenda. In this audio guide, after a short introduction, plan and section will be described in detail. Parco della Murgia Materana. A very consistent part of rupestran churches and settlement of the ancient water collecting and handling system, of defensive farms and archaeological sites can be found in the Matera and Monte Scaglioso municipalities, and they fall in the protected natural area known as Parco della Murgia Materana. Together with landscape cut by ravines, swamps and coast cavities, and abundant in biodiversity, these are the salient features of a heritage whose value is unmeasurable, and it deserves to be known, enhanced, and protected. The Parco della Murgia Materana, also known as Rocky Churches Park, is located on the eastern part of Basilicata, on the border with Puglia, and its area spreads for 8,000 hectares between the municipalities of Matera and Monte Scaglioso. Part of the park and the Sassi of Matera have been recognized by UNESCO as World Heritage Sites on 1993, for they are an extraordinary testimony of a vanished civilization that was able to live for thousands of years in perfect unity with the natural environment, in caves at first, and in more complex urban settlements at a later time, due to the growing requirements of the locals. The plan. This plan depicts the protected area, which fills a large part of the coast tableland of the Murgia Materana, lined with deep engravings, named ravines, as the drawing makes clear. It also depicts the variegated greenery of the park and locates the visit centers and the spots with highest or lowest height above sea level. The first one is 519 meters above sea level, and it is set in the upper part of the plan. The second one, the altitude of which is 60 meters above sea level, is in the lower part, and they both are close to the park area borders. From a geological point of view, the park consists of sedimentary rocks of marine origin arranged in layers. For thousands of years, these rocks have been eroded by several streams that created the ravines, characterized by more or less rugged sides and a tight floor. A multitude of plant and animal species, including the rare ones, have always had their home here. Many of them are linked to the rupestran habitat and were the natural background to the human stories from the Middle Paleolithic to nowadays, seamlessly. Kept in mind the left side of the plan, the ravine of Matera runs on the west border, going through the park from north to south. This ravine has a tortuous developing with several sharp turns. In the upper left corner, it is shown that the ravine skims the Sassio of Matera along a small stretch close to the Matera and Jesce ravines confluence. Deep valleys, streams, and swamps, smaller ravine, erosive gullies, enter in these impressive canyons all along the way, till Montescaglioso, where it ends. You are now in the Parco dei Monaci Visit Center, number 2 on the plan, placed between the left edge of the plan and the ravine of Matera. Your position is reported by a round relief that indicates you are here. In the recent past, the ancient farm of Parco dei Monaci belonged to the Benedictine Abbey of San Michele Arcangelo, whom majestically arises in the historic center of Montescaglioso. The two other visit centers in the park area are the Mario Tommaselli Visit Center, number 1 on the plan, roomed in the Iazzo Gattini spaces, an ancient defensive sheepfold placed close to the Jesce ravine, and the Pianelle Visit Center, number 3 on the plan, placed shortly below Parco dei Monaci, along the left margin of the plan. This latter is a former rural settlement risen thanks to the agrarian reform in Matera territory. In the drawing, the greenery of the park is divided in 4 micro-areas, corresponding to as many habitats, each one with its own special plant species and wildlife. Every area is indicated with a peculiar texture for making it differ from the next one, on a tactile level too. The flora of the Parco della Murgia Materana includes more than 900 plant species, a quite significant number compared to the small part of territory put under protection. This exceptionally rich vegetation is due to the climate, to the coast substrate and the anthropic pressure. Human activities, more than other elements, have induced the greenery to drastic adaptations in the protected area, and they have determined, in time, its appearance, dimensions and physiology. Large-scale deforestation, fires and other environmental and climatic stress factors have held the flora from preserving, through millennia, numerous species with various origin, which enhances the present variety. The species with the Balkanic origin and Eastern Mediterranean is combined with the ones with the Euro-Asiatic origin, or Pontic, European, Apennine, just to name a few. According to the order indicated in the legenda, we have ravines greenery, Mediterranean scrub, garrigue and Mediterranean pseudosteppe, cultivated field, wood.